Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about orders of operations. This topic is mainly found in the Thinking Algebraically class, but it doesn't really matter what class you're in, it's just here's a topic of orders of operations. So for orders of operations, it simply means when you're given a long string of addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, all kinds of other stuff, it's asking you to simplify. That's our main concern with the orders of operations. Now, there is an acronym that you learn pretty early on in either college, high school, maybe you've learned it, seen it in middle school, but it's PEMDAS. Either you can remember it as that, or you can remember it kind of as this. I've learned it this way too. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. A way to remember PEMDAS in that order. But regardless of how you remember it, what does it stand for? So the P stands for the first operation you will do. Number one is parentheses. So whenever you see, so I will let me write an example here. So if I have an example like this, what my PEMDAS is telling me is the first thing I'm going to look for is my parentheses. So here's my parentheses here. That would be the first thing that I complete. So I would go ahead and do whatever is inside. So the 4 plus 3, so that's 7 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 6 divided by 3. Okay, so I checked off my first one, and I've completed successfully my first step. So this is number 1. And so that was number 1. So we used rule number 1. Okay, so rule number 2 is exponents. So I look at my expression here, and I have exponents on the 7 now. I'm going to do that first before I do anything else. So my next step that I'm going to do is 7 to the second power, which will be 49, minus 4 times 2 plus 6 divided by 3. Now again, I'm doing this all in just one order at a time, but you can do it in multiple orders. So say if you wanted to just go ahead and do multiple steps in one line, I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it. It is an option. Okay, so that was number 2. Number 3, we have multiplication. So I'm going to look back into my equation here and look for any multiplication, and I have some here. My dot is giving me multiplication, so I'm going to do that step together. So 3. I'm going to keep everything the same, so 49 minus 4 times 2, which is 8, plus 6 divided by 3. Okay, so that is my next step. Okay, so I've done multiplication. So I'm done my exponent, done my multiplication. Now I'm ready to do my division. So 4. I'm going to look for any division signs, which I do have division. Here I have it. So now I'm going to go on to step number 4 here. 49 minus 8 plus 6 divided by 3 is 2. And so I've done my division. Okay, my next step is addition. I'm going to look for any addition I have. Here I have one. 8 plus 2. Okay, that's going to give me 49 minus 8 plus 2. Now the thing you have to be really careful with here is you have to watch the sign. Now, this isn't going to be minus 10. The reason being is the 8 here has the negative. So what I'm going to do is it's really negative 8 plus 2. So what I can do with that is going to be negative 6. Now, there's another way to do some of these things. I know some people will tell you online the addition and subtraction can be switched up. You don't have to do them addition first and then subtraction. So for example, since I have this strand of subtractions and additions, I could just start from left to right and go all the way through, which would probably be a little bit easier because that would just give me 49 minus 8, which is 41, plus 2 is 43. This is going to give me the same answer, but again, it's a little easier sometimes to do it left through right. We'll do some more problems later on, and I'll show you that case. But anyway, so just watch the negative here. That's probably the hardest thing about this problem. Okay, so 6. We have S, which is subtraction. 49 minus 6 here is going to give me 43. Okay, so that's kind of the premise of how we're going to do problems like this. As you can see, it was a lot of work. We used 6 steps, but again, this problem specifically had each of these 6 different topics in it, so I did that on purpose. Okay, so let's do our first example here. Okay, so we have 16 times 9 minus 7 times 8 plus 7. What we're going to want to do is think back to our PEMDAS that we have. So we're going to look at what we've got here. And thankfully, this one doesn't have as many crazy combinations as the last one did. Okay, so we have, let me just write PEMDAS here. Okay, so we don't have any parentheses. We don't have any exponents. So we're strictly on multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay, so let's go through and do our multiplication first. So we see we have 16 times 9, so we're going to do that. And then I see we have this 7 times 8. So we're going to do those first. So 16 times 9 is going to give me 144. So I have 144 minus 7 times 8, which is going to give me 56, and then plus 7. Okay, so here's where you can kind of go from left to right with the PEMDAS. You don't have to do the addition first and then subtraction, because remember, this is technically, if we were to do addition first, we would have to do this combination, which is negative 56 plus 7, which is fine. You can do it negative 56 plus 7. It's going to give you negative 49. So we can do that, negative 49, 144. And then 144 minus 49 gives me 95. Okay, so you can do it that way, where you keep the addition and then you just do the subtraction as the last step. Let me show you another way we can do it. So refer to the step 144 minus 56 plus 7. Let's say that I wanted to do the 144 minus 56. That gives me 88 plus 7. Let's say I wanted to do that one first. And then now I want to do my 88 plus 7. I'm going to get 95. And would you look at that, I get the same answer. So here's a reason. Here's something where, like I said, the addition and subtraction can mostly be left to right instead of following addition and then subtraction. You can kind of do that instead. The reason being is that addition and subtraction are essentially the same thing. They're just off by a negative sign, which is a theoretical concept. They're the same kind of operation. So it's just the negative sign. But you have to be very careful to getting that negative sign. And that's why it might be easier to work left from right rather than keeping the negative there. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you. Left to right method, AS method. So I wanted to just show you how that works. Okay, so my next concept, let's do another example here that I've got. Okay, so 13 plus 5 times 15 minus 8 divided by 4. Let's go back to our PEMDAS, and I'll write this up here at the top. PEMDAS. I do not have any parentheses. I do not have any exponents. I have multiplication and I have division. So let's go ahead and do those together. So highlight, we've got, oh, that's not highlighting. I've got some multiplication and I also have some division here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do those first. Now, the multiplication and division are a little bit different than the addition and subtraction. But yeah, they're kind of a little bit different. So let's do this together. All right, so we've got 13 plus 5 times 15. It's going to give me 75. Minus 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay, so there's my... Now again, you could do this either way. We could do this where we keep the subtraction or we do the addition first. It really doesn't matter in this case because it's a little easier. So let's add the 13. So we're going to do the addition. We'll do this first. So it gives me 88 minus 2, which gives me 84. Oh, 86, sorry. Okay, so that's my answer for this problem. I will tell you that if I were to type this out on my calculator, let's see if I type it out on my calculator, what I get. 5 times 15 minus 8 divided by... I do get the same answer. Some calculators are not smart though, where they will not do orders of operations. So what they'll do is they'll just go from left to right. So they'll do 13 plus 5, and then they'll multiply whatever that answer is by 15, and then they'll subtract 8, and then they'll divide the whole answer by 4. So you have to be careful if you are doing these on calculators. You have to check your work because some calculators are not smart. If you use your phone calculator or your Mac or computer calculator or Desmos or something like that, most likely you'll get the same answer. But if you use some older basic calculators like Casio or some TI-30s, I think, they may not do the orders of operations correctly just because their CPU memory is not programmed, or there really isn't the memory space for it, and they aren't trying to do that kind of math. They're not logically equipped to do that. So I will just say, be careful if you're doing this on a calculator. So it's best to do it by hand and then use a calculator for each step. You don't have to know how to compute 5 times 15, or if you were a little stuck on like the big one up here, which was the 16 times 9, I don't expect you to just know how to do that. You can use a calculator, but just don't type the whole thing in, especially if you're using a lower level calculator. Okay, so let's do this last example here. I'm going to write my PEMDAS at the top. I do not have any parentheses, and I don't have any exponents, which is most of these. The first one was the only one that had them. Now I'm going to highlight my multiplication. So I've got 4 times 14. And if I have any division, I can also do it in this step, which I do because it's over here. Okay, so 8 divided, so my 4 times 14, it's going to give me 56. Minus 15 plus, we'll just keep the 8 divided by 2. All right, so now we'll do the 8 divided by 2. That is going to be 4 plus 56 minus 15. Again, now you can do this in a calculator. You can plug everything in because it doesn't matter here if you subtract the 15 minus the 56 or if you add the 4 to the 56. It really doesn't matter. So 56 minus 15, or I guess we should add. We'll do the add up plus 4, so we get 60 minus 15, and that's going to give us 45. So that's kind of how we do these problems, is use your PEMDAS and you kind of logic through it. Again, there's many ways to do these problems. I could have done, so I did this first, and then I did this one in the next step, and then I did the addition and subtraction down here.